Alright, so this screencast is for the last page of the notes for 4.3. So let's start off with sine of 7 pi over 6. So I know that secretly 7 pi over 6 is going to be equal to 1 and 1/6 pi. So if I draw this out real quick, so I know that 1 pi is all the way over here, right? Because here's 0, here's pi, and then 1/6 would just be 1/6 the way further. So to find my reference angle, it's literally just going to be this 1/6 right here. This part right here, the 1/6. So my reference angle is going to be pi over 6. So secretly, you know, this is going to be equal to 30 degrees. So we're trying to find what is sine of 30 degrees. So as I told you, there's really only two triangles you need to know. The 30, 60, 90. Alright, so opposite of 30 is a half, opposite of 60 is square root of 3 over 2, and hypotenuse is 1. I'm just going to draw the 45, 45. So hypotenuse is 1. Each side length is square root of 2 over 2. Okay, cool. So just remember, SOHCAHTOA. So sine of 30 degrees is going to be the opposite, 1/2, divided by hypotenuse of 1. So 1/2 divided by 1 will give me a value of 1/2. Now, I found, so remember there's 3 steps to solve these problems. Find the reference angle, do the trig value of that reference angle, and then find if it's positive or negative. So all students take calculus. I am in this quadrant, quadrant 3, only tangent's positive, so thus sine of 7 pi over 6 will be negative 1/2, negative, because I'm in the 3rd quadrant. Alright, so part B, cosine of 5 pi over 4. So remember here's 0, here's pi. This is going to be larger than 1 pi. So here's 4/4 pi, and I have to go 1/4 more. So right there is 1/4 more. Well, that's literally going to be my reference angle. Right, so my reference angle is going to be pi over 4, because I'm that much more than pi, right? So here's pi, and then I'm 1/4 more. So I want to know what cosine of pi over 4 is. Well, pi over 4, let's see, 180, because remember, pi and 180 mean the same thing. 180 over 4 is 45. So what's cosine of 45 degrees? Well, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So here's 45, adjacent, square root of 2 over 2 over hypotenuse of 1. Well, that gives me a square root of 2, oops. That gives me a value of square root of 2 over 2. Okay, so I found the value. Let's say I found the reference angle, I found the trig value, now find if it's positive or negative. So I'm in the 3rd quadrant. All students take calculus. Ha, only tangent's positive. So my final answer of cosine of 5 pi over 4 will be negative square root of 2 over 2. Alright, tangent of 11 pi over 6. Well, I know that this is more than 1 pi, so this would be 1 with a remainder of 5 pi over 6. Alright, so let's go ahead and draw that. So I go over 1, because remember here's 0, here's pi, and now I have to go 5/6 the way further. 5/6. So it's 1 and 5/6 pi. What would this be here, right? So this is our reference angle. I know if I went all the way around, I would have gone 2 pi. So if I subtract how much I actually went around, which is 1 and 5/6 pi, I would have a remainder of pi over 6. That kind of makes sense, right? So to go from pi back to 2 pi is a single pi, and then I went 5/6 the way there, so I have 1/6 left, so it's pi over 6. Let me convert this to degrees. So multiply by 180 over pi. Pi cancels out, 6 and 3. Cool. So I want tangent of 30 degrees. Once again, our special triangle pops up. So tangent of 30, opposite over adjacent. So here's my 30 degree, opposite, 1/2 over adjacent of square root of 3 over 2. So if I do 1/2 divided by square root of 3 over 2, it's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. So I can do 1/2 times 2 over square root 3. So you get 2 over 2 times square root 3. You see your 2's cancel out, so I'm left with 1 over square root 3. That's not ideal, right? 1 over square root 3 is not ideal. I would like to get the square root out of the bottom. So I just multiply by, a fancy 1. Square root 3 over 3. Get the final answer of square root 3 over 3. Let me check, where am I at in my quadrants? All students take calculus. Only cosine is positive in this quadrant. Therefore, my tangent of 11 pi over 6 is going to be negative square root 3 over 3. Okay, sorry, I'm running out of room with the last one. Yikes. Secant of 270. All right, let me do this. Secant of 270 degrees. So secant of 270, 270 is going to be, if you don't know, 270 is a quadrantal angle. So let's see, this is 90, 180, 270, right here. So if I pick a point, it's going to lay right on my quadrant line. So this point, x value is 0, y value is negative radius, negative r, however far down we are if this was a circle. So secant deals with cosine, and we know cosine deals, let's see, cosine is x over r. So the reciprocal of that, secant, will be r over x. So secant is, let's see, is the radius over my x, which is 0. Oh my god, we're dividing by 0. Cannot do that. Undefined. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that's the first 4 problems. Let's go ahead and let's go down. All right, so cosine of 9 pi over 4. So 9/4 is going to be equal to 2 and 1/4 pi. So this means we are going to go around the circle once and then a 4th more time, because it's 2. The 2 pi part goes around all the way once, and then the 1/4 is how much we have remaining. So it's pi over 4. Hey, look, we're in the first quadrant. So when all students take calculus, we'll have a positive number. So cosine of pi over 4. So we found our reference angle. Check. We're doing the trig value. So let's see. So here's my 45. So cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent, square root of 2 over 2 over hypotenuse 1. Square root of 2 over 2 over hypotenuse 1. So we get square root of 2 over 2. We're in the first quadrant, so it's going to be positive. Sine of negative 300 degrees. Let's see, negative 300. Let's go ahead and draw this. So this is negative 180, negative 270, and then we go 30 more. So this is negative 300. You know, if we went all the way around, it would have been negative 360. So if I do negative 360, it's going to equal my angle I did, negative 300, plus whatever my reference is. So here's my reference. How much am I missing? So I could do a negative 60 angle, because negative 300 plus negative 60 would be 360. So I could do the negative 60 go this way, or I can just say, you know what, I'll have the 60 be positive. So I'll have a positive 60 degree angle right here. 30, remember opposite of 30 is 1/2. Opposite of the 60 degrees is 3 over 2, and then the hypotenuse is 1. Okay, so we are trying to do sine of 60 degrees. Sine, so opposite over hypotenuse. So here's my 60 degrees. Opposite is going to be my square root of 3 over 2 over my hypotenuse, which is 1. Okay, cool. So the sine of 60 is going to be square root of 3 over 2. We're in the first quadrant, so it's positive and we can leave it. We need to leave it. It's positive. We don't have to change the sign. Remember, all students take calculus. Well, all of them are positive in the first quadrant. All right, so last one. Oops. This is just a review. Got to find your reference angle and then your trig function of that value, and then if it's positive or negative. All right, last one. Tangent of 29 pi over 6. Okay, so let's convert 29 pi over 6. Let's see, 6 times 5 is 30. So if I do 6 times 4, that's 24. 29 minus 24, okay, so that's 6 and 5. I'm sorry, that's 4 and 5, 6 pi. This means I'm going to go around not once, but twice, and then 5, 6. So I'll finish right here. So if I want to redraw this just so I can see, I literally went 5, 6 the way around. Oops. So that's 5, 6 pi. And I know here's pi and here's 0. So what would this remaining part here be? So I know that 5 pi over 6 plus whatever my reference angle is going to equal pi. Well, I mean, you can kind of see it's like this cookie cutter piece that's missing. That's going to be the 1/6. That's going to be the 1/6. I'm missing 1/6 pi. Let's see. So pi over 6, what degrees is that? So I can multiply this by, let's see, 180 over pi. So it's going to equal 30 degrees. Okay, so we're doing tangent of 30 degrees. Oh, hey, look, I already drew my triangle. So tangent TOA. Opposite, so here's 30, opposite, 1/2 over adjacent, square root of 3 over 2. So 1/2 divided by square root of 3 over 2, dividing by fractions, same as multiplying by the reciprocal. Okay, cool. Sing that every time. All right, so I have 1 over square root of 3. I swear, I've already done tangent of 30 degrees. Let's see, square root of 3, gotta get rid of that square root, blah, blah, blah. Square root of 3 over 3. Let's double check which quadrant are we in. All students take calculus. All right, so I'm doing tangent, and I'm in this quadrant. Man, right here, tangent is not positive, so it's actually going to be negative. Negative square root of 3 over 3. And that's it. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Of course, here is the homework. I'll see you guys later.